The Denver Broncos are one of the most popular franchises in the NFL, but their fan base has been through more ups and downs than a stock market during a Federal Reserve meeting. Since John Elway, the best quarterback they've managed to draft is Jay Cutler. And since Peyton Manning left in 2016, the Broncos have been attempted to compete with the Browns for most quarterbacks to take the field. If you were to have purchased every Broncos starting quarterback jersey since the 2000 season, you'd have a collection of 26 jerseys. That's enough of a revolving door to make Flo Rida sick. And he's used to spinning right round. Today on FootballLore, we have to discuss the curse currently placed on the Broncos quarterback position. To start, we need to go over the events leading up to the Manning era. This was the start of the quarterback curse for Denver, but its severity wasn't nearly as strong. I would describe the Denver quarterbacks from 2000 to 2012 as about as mid as an ounce of the Nebraska Special. Following the legendary era of John Elway, the Broncos embarked on a quest for stability under center that was as challenging as following a map without a compass. First up was Brian Griese, who took the reins from 1999 through 2002. Tasked with the Herculean job of succeeding Elway, Griese's tenure was a mix of potential and frustration. He racked up 11,763 passing yards and 71 touchdowns, showing flashes of brilliance but struggling with consistency. His win-loss record as a starter was 27-24, painting a picture of a quarterback who could occasionally shine but often faltered under the weight of expectation. Enter Jake Plummer in 2003, a quarterback as enigmatic as a mystery novel. His time with the Broncos was a roller coaster in itself, featuring both exhilarating highs and perplexing lows. Plummer threw for 11,631 yards and 71 touchdowns during his time in Denver, leading the team to an impressive AFC Championship appearance in 2005. However, his tenure was also marred by a tendency to throw interceptions at crucial moments. He left the Broncos with a win-loss record of 39-15, a testament to his ability to win games despite his sometimes erratic play. The Jay Cutler era began in 2006, marked by high expectations and dramatic twists. Possessing a cannon for an arm, Cutler amassed 9,024 yards and 54 touchdowns with the Broncos. His tenure, however, was a turbulent one, plagued by inconsistency and off-field drama, leading to a win-loss record of 17-20. Cutler's time in Denver ended abruptly in 2009, leaving fans wondering what might have been. Following Cutler's departure, Kyle Orton was handed the keys in 2009. Orton, more of a game manager than a showstopper, threw for 8,434 yards and 49 touchdowns with the Broncos. He was steady, if unspectacular, compiling a 12-21 record as a starter. Orton's tenure was solid, but ultimately lacked the spark the Broncos were searching for. Plus, having a drastic losing record on a popular franchise is pretty much a career death sentence. Then came the Tim Tebow phenomenon in 2010, a saga as polarizing as it was captivating. Tebow's unconventional playing style led the Broncos to some miraculous comebacks and a playoff win in 2011. He threw for 2,838 yards and 17 touchdowns, with a win-loss record of 8-6. His tenure was short-lived but unforgettable, marked by fervent fan support and heated debates over his quarterbacking prowess. After being bounced out of the NFL, he ended up trying to go pro in baseball, before now trying to take a crack at the professional pastor circuit. Like I said, this era definitely isn't great, but compared to what comes after the amazing tenure of Peyton Manning, Tim Tebow looks like Tom Brady by comparison. In the 2012 season, the Denver Broncos acquired arguably the greatest quarterback in NFL history, Peyton Manning. The Broncos, after a spell of quarterback misadventures that could fill a blooper reel, landed one of the greatest signal callers in NFL history. Manning, coming off a neck surgery that was more nerve-wracking than a cliffhanger in a thriller movie, had something to prove. His arrival in Denver was like a jolt of electricity to a dormant power grid. Suddenly, the Broncos' offense was lighting up scoreboards like a kid with a new video game. In his first season, Manning threw for an impressive 4,659 yards and 37 touchdowns, steering the Broncos to a 13-3 record. It was as if Manning was playing chess while the rest of the league was stuck playing checkers. The 2013 season was where Manning turned the NFL into his personal arcade game. He broke records like a DJ on a wild night, throwing for a staggering 5,477 yards and 55 touchdowns, both single-season records at the time. The Broncos marched to the Super Bowl like they were on a mission from the football gods, but the game itself was more nightmare than dream, ending in a crushing defeat. Not one to be deterred, Manning continued to be the maestro of the Broncos offense. In 2014, he added another 4,727 yards and 39 touchdowns to his resume. But the Broncos' postseason ended in heartbreak once again. It was like watching a sequel that couldn't quite capture the magic of the original. The 2015 season was the final act of Manning's storied career, and it was more dramatic than an Oscar-winning drama. Battling injuries and father time, Manning's stats took a dip. He passed for 2,249 yards and 9 touchdowns in 10 regular season games. But in a twist worthy of a Hollywood script, he returned from injury just in time to lead the Broncos on a magical playoff run. The Broncos' defense, as fierce as a pack of lions, and Manning's veteran savvy proved to be a winning combination. They clawed their way through the playoffs and into Super Bowl 50. In what was a fitting swan song for Manning, the Broncos triumphed, giving him the perfect send-off, a second Super Bowl ring. With a final curtain call, Manning retired after the 2015 season, ending a tenure in Denver that was as epic as a space odyssey. His overall record with the Broncos was an astonishing 45-12 in the regular season, and he added 9,024 passing yards and 71 touchdowns to the Broncos' history books. Manning's time in Denver was a reminder that sometimes the sequel can be just as good, if not better, than the original. The Broncos had ridden the Manning wave to the pinnacle of NFL success, and his retirement marked the end of an era that Broncos fans would recount for generations. A tale of triumph, redemption, and a quarterback who turned the mile-high city into his personal stage. After Peyton Manning rode off into the sunset following Super Bowl 50, the Broncos found themselves in a quarterback conundrum reminiscent of a mystery novel with too many plot twists. The post-Manning era in Denver's been like a game of musical chairs, but with quarterbacks and less music. First up was Trevor Siemian, an unheralded 7th-round pick who grabbed the reins in 2016. While Siemian showed glimpses of promise, throwing for 3,401 yards and 18 touchdowns in his first season, his tenure was as stable as a house of cards in a windstorm. In 2017, his performance wavered, and the Broncos quarterback carousel began spinning faster. Enter Paxton Lynch, the first-round draft pick of 2016, who was supposed to be the franchise's new cornerstone. Instead, Lynch's tenure was like a highly anticipated movie that flopped at the box office. Plagued by injuries and inconsistent play, he started just 4 games over 2 seasons, leaving fans and coaches scratching their heads in collective disappointment. 2018 saw Case Keenum take the helm, fresh off of a miracle season with the Vikings. Broncos fans hoped he'd be the sequel to Manning's blockbuster, but Keenum's tenure was more of a one-hit wonder. He threw for 3,890 yards and 18 touchdowns, but with 15 interceptions and a 6-10 record, it felt like watching a rerun of a show you're only half interested in. The 2019 season brought Joe Flacco, a Super Bowl MVP with the Ravens, into the mix, but by then, Flacco was more of a veteran cameo than a leading man, and his stint was cut short by injury and underwhelming performances. In 2020, Drew Lock stepped up, a young gun with a cannon for an arm and a swagger to match. His raw talent was undeniable, but like a roller coaster with more drops than highs, Lock's inconsistency left fans feeling a bit queasy. With 16 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, Lock's performance was akin to a puzzle with missing pieces, potential yet unfulfilled. Post-Drew Lock, the Broncos quarterback narrative unfolded like a game of hot potato. As Lock's tenure, marked by moments of raw talent overshadowed by inconsistency, began to wane, Denver's search for a franchise QB continued with the fervor of a gold rush. In the interim, the Broncos turned to veteran Teddy Bridgewater in 2021, a quarterback known for his steadiness rather than flashiness. Bridgewater, akin to a reliable but unspectacular sedan, brought professionalism and a semblance of stability. However, with a 7-7 record as a starter and an offense that often seemed to be idling rather than accelerating, the quest for a high-octane leader persisted. Amidst this backdrop, the Broncos, in a plot twist reminiscent of a blockbuster trade, acquired Russell Wilson from the Seattle Seahawks in 2022. Wilson, a Super Bowl champion and a magician on the field, was expected to be the savior Denver had been desperately seeking. This move was like rolling out the red carpet for Hollywood royalty, a signal that the Broncos were back in the big game. but reality scripted a different story. The 2022 season, which had the makings of a triumphant saga, instead played out like a drama filled with unexpected setbacks. Wilson, typically as precise as a Swiss watch, found himself out of sync. His performances, once the epitome of quarterback excellence, were uncharacteristically pedestrian. With 3,524 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, Wilson's numbers were more journeyman than the superstar Denver had banked on. Adding to the plot was Wilson's hefty contract, a deal as grand as a Hollywood blockbuster's budget. This contract, meant to secure a leading man for the foreseeable future, instead began to feel like a financial albatross as Wilson struggled to live up to the high expectations. The Broncos quarterback saga, stretching from the post-Manning era through Locke, Bridgewater, and to Wilson, has been a narrative filled with twists and turns, high hopes, and unforeseen challenges. Fans, longing for the stability and success of days gone by, watched as the team navigated this turbulent chapter, hoping that Wilson could eventually turn the page and begin a new, more triumphant story in the Mile High City. As we continue the tale of the Denver Broncos quarterback odyssey, let's turn our attention to Russell Wilson's 2023 season, a chapter that was hoped to be a redemption arc, but instead read like a cautionary tale. In 2023, expectations were high for Wilson to rebound, to rediscover the magic that once made him a luminary in Seattle. However, the season unfurled not with the bang of fireworks, but with the whimper of a flickering candle. Wilson's performances, once characterized by dazzling escapability and game-winning drives, now seem shackled by uncertainty and a lack of cohesion with the offense. His stats told a story of mediocrity rather than mastery, a stark contrast to the high-octane playmaker who once danced behind the line with the poise of a ballet dancer. The Broncos, with their eyes set on a return to glory, instead found themselves mired in a narrative of unmet expectations. The conundrum deepened with Wilson's blockbuster contract, a financial commitment as hefty as an anchor. This deal, once signed amidst fanfare and sky-high hopes, now loomed over the franchise like a dark cloud. The Broncos, entangled in the web of this substantial financial obligation, found themselves in a precarious position. Moving on from Wilson, a move some in the fanbase clamored for, was akin to trying to maneuver out of a tight parking spot. Theoretically possible, but practically fraught with complications. As we gaze into the crystal ball of the Denver Broncos' future, particularly at the quarterback position, the horizon's filled with a mix of uncertainty, hope, and the ever-present thirst for a return to glory. Looking ahead, the Broncos face a complex puzzle at quarterback. With Russell Wilson's tenure proven more challenging than anticipated and a substantial contract complicating potential moves, the franchise stands at a pivotal crossroads. The key question is whether to continue investing in Wilson, hoping for a return to his former brilliance, or to explore new avenues, be it through the draft, trades, or free agency. The draft route offers a tantalizing possibility of finding the next young phenom, a fresh face to lead the team into a new era. However, the unpredictability of draft picks, akin to a roll of the dice, leaves this option fraught with risk. Trade or free agency, on the other hand, could provide a more immediate solution, but comes with its own set of challenges, including cap space maneuvering and finding the right fit for the team's system and culture. The Broncos could also look internally, fostering growth and development within their current roster, hoping to uncover a hidden gem who could rise to the occasion. As the Broncos chart their course forward, the lessons of the past loom large. The post-Manning era, a tale of high hopes, unexpected turns, and searches for stability, serves as a reminder of the NFL's unforgiving nature. From the greasy days to the Plummer roller coaster, the Cutler drama, the Simeon experiment, the Bridgewater steadiness, and now the Wilson conundrum, the journey's been as unpredictable as a Colorado weather forecast. In summary, the Denver Broncos' quarterback saga since the turn of the millennium has been a narrative rich in drama, excitement, and heartache. It's a story that reflects the highs and lows of the NFL, where success is fleeting and the quest for excellence is relentless. As the Broncos look to the future, they carry with them the weight of history and the hope of a fan base yearning for the return of the days when their quarterback was the envy of the league. The road ahead may be uncertain, but in the world of professional football, uncertainty is the only certainty. And so, the Broncos march on, hopeful that the next chapter in their quarterback story is one that leads them back to the pinnacle of NFL success. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. Here on FootballLore, we upload football documentaries on a regular basis and would love your support. Have a great day.